Hi, hello, namaskar, what's up, everybody? This is Shubham Thakur here, and welcome to Shubham Thakur's Live. And today we have our guest, Mr. Eric Chan, who is the CEO of Earthlink Alliance from Australia. Welcome, Mr. Eric.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. Mr. Eric Chan, personally, I was really excited about this live session, and I would like to know your introduction, and your journey. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be sharing my journey and whatever I can about business and helping other entrepreneurs achieve their dreams and ambition like you are trying to do. So that's fantastic. My journey is a pretty interesting one because I think being for a fellow Asian from an Asian country, we understand the culture of our parents and the expectations put on us by our parents, right? Strict academic focus and security focus, isn't there? So my family was no different. I come from Hong Kong, but I was born in Australia. And I think the expectation for me was always to get some sort of corporate job, climb the corporate ladder or be a doctor or a scientist of some sort, right? And I, at school, did exactly what was expected of me. I did the math subjects, I did the science subjects, I did the business subjects, and it seemed like it was really clear what my journey will be. When I got into university, I did a double degree in finance or something like that. I can't remember now. I'm 33 now. It's been so many years since then. But the funny thing is, after a year and a half, I remember sitting in my accounting class and thinking to myself, this is so freaking boring. So I made the decision to quit. And you can only imagine, as a fellow Asian, what my parents thought about that decision to quit uni at 19. They were not happy at all, but they understood my decision. So I decided to go and work for 2.5 years. And I worked at actually a Crown Casino, dealing poker, and working in that environment taught me so much about the world, and was much more to the world than the 25 kilometers or miles, if you use that system, around you, because we're so used to what's really close to us and we understand the world through our local community. But working in a casino, so many international travelers, it taught me so much. After a while, I felt like I couldn't work in that job anymore, and I decided to go back to uni and study psychology and learn about human behavior and those things that did a complete 180. I think where my story starts to do a massive shift is that in my last year of uni, about 3 months before final exams, my girlfriend told me that she was pregnant. Completely unexpected. And you can imagine the shock that I experienced, because I'll be honest with you. Back then, when I was 25, I was still living at home and my mother was still doing my washing. So I had no business raising a child, right? But I decided that, no, this is what the universe has given me. I accepted it, and I decided to go down that route, and a little switch flicked in my brain, this feeling of responsibility. So I finished my degree, went for a job, and I fortunately was able to get a job in medical research, right? And I did that for about 6 years and got up into one of the largest studies to ever be conducted in Australia's history, with 19,000 participants. And I was living this comfortable life. I had a title that was really impressive. My parents were so happy. I was raising my child. I became a really responsible person. But like you were sharing with me before we started the show about how you got to this journey, I did not feel that was what my destiny was going to be. I felt so uncomfortable just doing the same thing every day and not really expanding and impacting the world in the way that I knew I truly could. So I looked into this journey of, hey, starting my own business, learning some new skills, learning sales and communication, and these things that university never ever taught me or told me that was important, but I realized was extremely important in the real world. So I learned these coaching and communication skills where I was able to start a solo business helping people who go to networking do their 60-second pitches, because at networking meetings you stand up and you give your 30 seconds or 60 seconds to describe your business. So I started doing only that. And fortunately, I was quite successful, and I grew that business and my education to eventually doing public speaking and teaching presentation skills, because I realized I had a natural ability, and I invested a lot of time and education in growing that skill. And eventually my business got quite successful. But the funny thing, Shubham, about this journey is that it never ever reaches a milestone. You think you do, but it doesn't. Okay. And I got to this point where I realized I couldn't grow anymore. And I guess this is the nature of, or the subject of our conversation today, is how to grow a business. And I think a lot of people who are working by themselves really find it difficult to grow a business because they only the solo game. And it was in that moment where I realized there is a bigger game that requires collaboration, a different level of thinking. I actually put my old business aside, went into an apprenticeship with a mentor, and then got myself to where I am today at Earthlink Alliance. So that's pretty much my journey from expectation to quitting uni to unexpected parent to now CEO of Earthlink Alliance.
And your story is one of the inspiring stories I have ever heard. So that was for sure the very great story. And like when you started the Earthlink Alliance, so I would like to know that what Earthlink Alliance exactly do and what's the idea behind it.
Yeah, so Earthlink Alliance was a result of a merger and acquisition, and one of my friends brought us together. One of the key things that happened in my journey was with that apprenticeship with my mentor. I eventually left that apprenticeship and I was looking for a new position to do. And I was doing all sorts of things in order to build my own profile and test my skills, because I think one of the key things about growing a business is obviously developing your profile, but how do you stand out from the noise? And you have to do interesting things. And some of the things I did was take a milk crate out into the middle of the city and started speaking on it ad hoc and just doing things to test my ability. And because my friend saw that in me, he brought together a whole group of people and merged these two businesses together. And what Earthlink Alliance does is that we help businesses grow and scale through strategy, client acquisition systems, and also building technology. And the thinking behind it was you want to have that deep relationship, know, like, and trust with companies you work with to help you to grow, but you don't necessarily want to work with multiple companies, a marketing company, then a scaling company, then an operational company, then a technology company building your platforms. You want someone who understands the whole picture together. And the experience that we brought to the table, all the people were able to form all those things and actually present a unified picture, a growth strategy to help businesses grow. And that's how we've separated ourselves from the digital marketing agencies or the pure technology building companies.
Yes, that's a wonderful thing. And people right now, there is a trend in market, the business ecosystem is that digital marketing and all. So the work you are doing is really unique. And just as being in the pandemic, as we all suffer from the COVID. So do you think that COVID-19 has rises the business ecosystem or given such a boom to the industry?
It's definitely given a boom to the industry I'm in, which is the digital space, right? And the need for lateral strategic thinking, because a lot of businesses in the industries that they belong to, whether it be human to human things like events, like sporting and all that, they've had to really change their thinking. And a lot of people, it's very hard for them to see how to do that with their own business because they're too close to it. So I think that COVID-19 has had the positive, though it's not positive, obviously, but has the positives from a psychological and philosophical level of forcing people to shift their thinking towards growth and innovation, which in the previous era, there was never anything that forced them to do that. But this thing of with COVID, where you literally had no choice. So even if someone gave you money, you
Yeah.
can't let people in the door. That really people change and evolve their thinking. And I think it's actually a very significant point in the business landscape.
Yeah. Yes, completely. And and when this COVID happened, and there are so many companies, and there are so many sectors where some of the company has shut it down, and some of the business and some of the sector was highly impacted in a very negative way by the COVID. So. In this, there are so many new companies which are reinventing themselves, and there are so many new startups who are coming in COVID in order to save the world, or providing the new technologies and new medical equipments to save people and doing business. So what do you think, that how can someone reinvent a company in order to grow from wherever sector or wherever industry they are? Yeah.
Yeah, so there is an old saying where it's necessity is the father of all invention, right? That's the saying.
Yes.
So when it comes to that question, it really is still back to the really basic principles of business. A lot of people tend to forget, and the reason why most businesses don't succeed. The purpose of having a business is to solve problems. It's to
Yeah.
solve problems. It's not even technically to make money, because making money as the fundamental foundation, that's actually the wrong way to go about it. If you put your foundation as solving problems where they need to be solved, the money will come. And it's that key bit of leadership thinking that people need to have when they are looking to start a new venture or be innovative and fulfill some sort of what they call, a blue ocean sector, right? Blue ocean meaning that there's not saturation in people delivering in that particular space. If they want that, they have to anchor themselves to that core principle. Look for a real problem to solve. Focus on that. Don't get distracted by shiny things on the side.
Yes, yes, completely. And as we know that there are so many as I said, that there are so many new startups have come, has shown up in the COVID, and there are several companies which was doing really well before COVID, but now they are reinventing or restarting again. So as for, take example of me, that I'm going to start my own venture, hopefully next year or maybe later. So, what do you think, that what strategy should we apply to growth, to grow our company in the early stages? Yeah.
Yeah, so I think my answer to this question is twofold, right? Twofold. On one part, important in terms of strategy is number one, you have to have a proper business plan, put in the effort
Okay.
to actually put it down on paper, structure it correctly, numbers really well, that you can invest in growing the business properly, which usually
Yeah.
means that you have to have the right balance between marketing and client acquisition, balanced with fantastic delivery of a quality service. The issue that I see time and time again in my early stages of my journey, when I was in the solopreneur circle, to where I am now, even with really large business that turn over revenue wise anywhere up to $50 million, but they're still making a loss because their cash flow is completely wrecked, because that comes from not knowing
Yes.
their numbers. The smaller businesses do not grow because they do not focus on marketing. They focus or client acquisition. They focus only on their skill. And if you focus on your skill, you become like a starving artist. You need to find that perfect balance of, hey, remember, business is about 80% making sure people know who you are, find out about your service, create those sales conversations. And then the remaining 20%, which is highly valuable, is that quality service delivery. Finding that balance is so essential for people starting off. Whereas the mistake I see, I'll repeat it again, is people think that working on their skill and the delivery becomes the 80%, and the client acquisition only becomes 20%, and they don't put any money into it because they either don't partition their funds properly, or they don't even know their numbers. And those are probably the main mistakes that I would say people need to watch out for.
Yeah, completely. And what do you think that what are the key points to focus on to in order to grow a company or any platform? Like as this is my platform, and what are the key points, the basic key points which everyone should focus on in order to grow? Yeah.
So on top of what I just shared just then about knowing your numbers, focus on client acquisition, I would say
Yes.
the other part is to understand that the world today is really starved of trust, really starved of trust. So even things like advertising, online advertising, Google advertising, you have to be really careful of where you invest your money because they work for some type of industries, in particular, fast moving consumer goods, business to consumer type businesses. But when you're doing something like what you're doing, which is to grow a platform centered around individuals, growing that and investing in showing people who you are through your socials, through the activities you do, through the for purpose and community impact actions that you have as part of your company's vision, this is a really important part for the future. I think gone are the old days where you can be a company that's purely just for profit and also hiding behind your name. The people within the company now become exceptionally important, and that needs to be shown to the world. The way that they think, they feel, the tribe that they want to attract towards them. It is so valuable when you are starting your business. When you have the luxury of being, already a Google or a Mercedes or a BMW, where the brand is already so, that's a different story. But in
Yeah.
this new era of people wanting to grow their brand, that people become so important. So being able to cultivate how you present your personality, the people within your company, what you stand for, this is going to be the key for claiming that space of trust that is so important in today's day and age.
Yeah. Yeah, completely. And now I'm going to discuss the factor which is marketing. Like marketing is the one thing which is the major factor in the success of any company or any platform or any business. So, how to do
Mhm.
the growth marketing by which we can place our business in front of the exact users, exact consumers, or in the B2B business. Yeah.
Yeah, with in terms of growth marketing, the way that I personally perceive growth marketing
Yeah.
is less the term marketing, back to the term I was talking about client acquisition. So client
Okay.
acquisition in an ecosystem looks at strategy as it relates to a strong business strategy. It's lead
Yeah.
generation, which is the more classical and traditional marketing definition that people understand, such as, ads and all that sort of thing. But there's also now, the nurture aspect, meaning that you understand the customer is so much more discerning today, and they're not going to buy straight away. They need to have other touch points and other proof elements about the quality of your product or the quality of the service or who you are, and you need to cater for that nurture part. And then also it's process between getting the client and the sales process as well. All of that has to be completely smooth. So when it comes to the growth marketing, there's that ecosystem, and then that sits in parallel with what I was sharing before about producing brand. The brand now becomes the more powerful marketing tool in the growth marketing perspective. It is the
Yeah.
people, it is the name, it's the association, it's the tribe. No one, like for me as a CEO, if someone markets to me via Facebook ads for a consulting service so that they can do something with business, right?
Yeah.
I never pay attention to ads. And I assume that if I'm already at 33 using browsers that have ad blockers and all these workarounds to stop ads getting in front of my face, the younger generation are even better than that. So the relationship, even in the digital and virtual space, the relationship between people offering value through education, through what you're doing in this platform, really
Yeah.
becomes the new top end of marketing, and less so with ads. Yes, there will be some industries where it will still apply, like I said, especially with consumer goods, But when it comes to these sort of services, like what you're trying to do, what I'm trying to do, that's a completely different story. It's going to be about the people.
Okay. Yeah. So after all the discussion on how to grow a business, I would like to ask you that which are the top sector or industries to start business in after the COVID, in COVID, in the pandemic, yeah, or maybe post COVID.
Yeah, post COVID, that's an interesting question. I think that when it comes to the post COVID era, I believe that let me think about this carefully, because I
Yeah,
was
sure.
thinking about this deeply about the post COVID era, and I think a really great growth industry beyond what is the stock standard that you can simply Google is actually entrepreneurs who can help the industries that are going to disappear because of this post COVID era or going to slow down, such as co-working spaces or events and things like that, to actually help them pivot into the new era. I think that that will be a really great space for new entrepreneurs to start. If you're talking giant impacts with like renewable energy and anything to do with digital currency and fintech and all that, yes, that discussion has been had for a very long time, and that is the way of the future. But I think for the solopreneur, for those who want to get to a space where they can earn something comfortable for themselves and then grow something
Yeah,
big and make an impact, those who are clever enough to help those dying industries that are full of people pivot into the new era, that's probably
yeah,
going to be a very powerful and open space for people to begin this entrepreneur journey. Yeah.
yes. So here comes the last question, and as you are we can say the expert of this field. So, what one piece of advice would you like to give to people who want to start and grow their businesses? Yeah, grow their business. Yeah,
The one piece of advice that I would give
yeah,
for people when they're starting to grow their business is that
yeah,
I would say be very careful with your thoughts. Be very careful with your thoughts. I find that the biggest killer of businesses and people's dreams and ambitions is that they allow either their first failure or one bad delivery or one failed partnership and the thoughts that overwhelm them to completely destroy their ability to achieve what might actually be a very amazing idea or business. Failures are a part of it. We know that. We've heard from all the people that we look up to share that they failed over and over again. But be so mindful of your thoughts. And the way that I would recommend people do that is make sure that even though you are chasing your dream and working super, super hard, don't forget to lean on the things that prop you up and give you energy in your life, whether it be people, whether it be exercise or solitude, jotting your thoughts down into a journal so that you can your brain every day, especially if you had a hard day. These things are probably the most important things that have got me through all of this. Because there will always be opportunities out there. There will always be money to be made, and there'll be always people to support you. However, if you can't deal with the pressures of your own ego and with the failure or even success getting too far into your head where you destroy relationships, which I've personally seen,
yeah,
this is going to be the one thing that will make this journey not a fantastic one or an enjoyable one at all. So I think that is something that I think needs to be said. And I think
yeah,
it's one of the things that everyone should make sure that they uh, incept into their brain about going on, because it's not an easy one. It is not for the faint-hearted. It's not for the faint-hearted, but the rewards are amazing
yeah,
because you will achieve freedom if consistent.
yeah. So thank you so much for being on the Shubham Thakur's live, and I'm so honored to have you on my show. And thank you for spreading the knowledge and your wisdom. Thank you so much, Eric. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it.